Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is time, it's 5:30. We're going to do invocation by Councilman Tellez, regulations by Councilwoman Trujillo. Stand.
Bless us, O Lord, as we gather here today in your presence. Give us the knowledge and strength to make the proper decisions that will concern this community. Bless, good Lord, the sick, the aged, the homeless, the incarcerated, and especially our men and women in the armed forces and our first responders and their families. We also pray for those who govern and bear the burden of this responsibility. I also want to ask for a special blessing for the family of Agustin Natividad, ex-city employee who passed away earlier this week. In the Lord's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And we'll go ahead and go to any public comments before the council.
Mayor and Council, Syra Nichols, City Secretary. I did have one public comment submitted during this week. We left it open to the public to submit any public comments by 5 this afternoon, so I only got one in. So bear with me, it's in Spanish, so you can see how it goes. Señor Mayor de la Ciudad, disculpe, pero creo que lo que está haciendo de subir la mensualidad a una cantidad tan excesiva, nomás porque tiene el poder, pero no está tomando en cuenta por lo que está pasando todo el mundo. Y estamos casi obligados a pagar esa suma porque tenemos que trabajar, sino como extraímos. Espero que ponga a pensar un poco en toda la gente, no nomás tome la pluma y ponga la cantidad que usted considere lícita. Póngase a pensar por la que estamos pasando, que muy apenas la juntamos los 250 y ahora salen que son 300. ¿Hasta cuándo piensa usted que puede aguantar la gente pagando esta suma tan descabellada? Por favor, considere y piense, por favor, gracias. And that was submitted by Miss Maria Morales. She owns a food truck down the street. She has it parked over at David's Ballroom. I believe it's Cala Patrona. Yeah, so her main concern was she feels that she was just concerned that she says it's hard enough to already pay the permit fee monthly, the $250, and then to come to find out that it went up to $300 a month.
And that was because we only created 3 areas now
Yes.
that they can either go where we want them to be or.
Yes,
they
and
can
she's
stay on
a
their own.
renter, so that's why she would be now paying the $300.
She will stay over there where she wants to
Yes.
stay.
And we did let her know that if she wants to pay a lower price, she can go to one of those appointed areas for a lower rate.
Now, are those appointed areas already?
They're not.
Okay.
And we've got one that's interested, and we're still waiting on others to come forth with property that they're willing to
Yeah, okay.
do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and go on to E.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'd like to say something. You know, during the day, I work out in the fields, in the oil field outside of Pecos. But you know, every once in a while I come through town and to go to different locations, because I got locations over here on north of 285, on Duval Road, 2119. I end up sometimes going to the south end because we got a lot of compressor stations out there. But one of the things I'm seeing, and you know, through this thing that we're having, our governor has given us really a choice of, we take care of ourselves by staying at home. If you don't need to be out, and I sure don't want to be told to stay at home by nobody. So my family, I'm the only one that goes to the grocery store. I'm the only one that goes out to, you know, to go get drinks or whatever's needed. Because I believe that we need to take it on ourselves. We're all grown folks that we can take it by ourselves and do it by ourselves without nobody telling us or making us stay home. But I see a lot of people still riding around. I've gone to the grocery stores, and you know, I don't want to take my grandkids with me to the grocery store. I don't take my wife, because if one gets it, then the whole family's down. And we're also when I come from work, I don't even go inside with my shoes. I leave my shoes outside. We set up a rack. Anybody comes visit, they leave their shoes outside. I go straight to the back door. I take off my shirt, put my shorts on. I take everything that I'm being outside, because I'm exposed to different folks anyway. And but I think we as individuals need to start being more concerned of the people that are out there. You know, we got another case through transferring of prisoners, I think, happened. So I think we need as Pecos, right now we only have 2, so I think we need to do a better job as citizens to be more concerned of each other. And I don't want to see anybody sick, and I sure don't want to see our town escalate like Odessa, Midland, or maybe the big cities like New York and those places. And I sure don't want to see anybody dying. I mean, people are gonna die because it's their time, but just because of this thing, we just need to be more responsible. I believe, and I believe our police officers do a great job, and we sure don't need them giving them even more by trying to patrol, you know, people that we can take care of ourselves. So let's be more in tune with each other and more considerate of each other, and let's start staying home. And we don't need to go out. You know, if they told me to go home for 2 weeks, man, to me, I got plenty of TV to watch, because I got plenty of movies. And so I just want to encourage everybody, you know, let's all do our part. And but that's all I had to say.
Thank you. I did forget to mention that Councilman Orona is out today. He's not here when we started. So, and again, the Councilman Saldana saying, you know, we do need to follow the orders that we have set before us, and that's only for our own protection. There's no reason other than take care of ourselves. So, you know, that we ask, and we'll always be asking all this time, that people follow, please, what has been put out by the city, by the governor. Again, it's for our own good. We're not doing it to punish anybody, and we will never do it to punish anybody. That will never happen. So if everybody follows, like Councilor Dania said, really appreciate it. We thank you for following it all this time that you have, those of you that have. Okay, we'll go on to consent agenda. Approve the minutes of the March 26, 2020 regular city council meeting, expenditure report, and call report. Okay, need a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the March 26, 2020 regular city council meeting.
Second.
And the expenditure report.
Oh, the expenditure report and the call report.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Councilman Mr. Hill, second by Councilman Tez, to approve the minutes of March 26, 2020 expenditure report and call report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll go to F, non-consent. Report on community engagement team efforts, Oscar Ornelas and Heather Ramirez, Community Engagement Department.
Mayor and Council, I'm Oscar Ornelas, along with Heather Ramirez, your Community Engagement Team. We're just gonna kind of update you guys what's been going on, kind of report you guys on what's happening,
Thank you.
what we plan to do, where we're going. Very welcome. So it's been crazy. It's been very crazy. We have finished probably just our 90 days of having this new department in place. During those 90 days, it's been very busy. Very busy implementing new things, very busy trying to figure out where we need to go, what we need to do. If you look on the second page of that packet, that's our mission statement. And the mission is the Department of Community Engagement will work with compassion and understanding to create a positive collaborative environment between municipal operations and members of the community. Council for a while has stressed that there needs to be better communication between what the city's doing and what the citizens want and need. So that's why our department was created, so we can kind of help put that information out there and help transparency of information. So if you read that mission statement, that is what we plan to achieve, creating that collaborative network between us and the citizens. Our values, these are the values that we feel that our department wants to instill. And if you look on the next page, there's a chart that shows our values. Respect, we act with compassion and understanding of what the citizens' needs are. So one thing that, we respect what the citizens need, and we address those issues. Collaboration, defining the needs and strengths of our community through open conversations. We need to have those open conversations. We need to have those one-on-one. It doesn't need to be just one-sided. Everybody needs to understand where each other's at and what the needs are on both sides. Responsibility, this is our big one, responsibility. We use the resources we have thanks to the taxpayers that are effective, efficient, and goal-driven. We always need to use whatever resources we have to our best of our abilities, because we don't always have the luxury of being able to get everything that we need to do the job. But as long as we have what we need and then we have goals, then we can always use what we have, because we always have to be mindful of where we get those resources from and who's paying for those resources that we're being able to use. Service, committed to serving the community and encouraging community partnership. We're not here just to relay information. We're here to actually put our hands in the ground and actually put our own service within the community. And then communicate. Create transparency of the organization and provide information to all citizens. Like I said, transparency, that's one thing that council has pushed for a long time, and that's one thing that our citizens are really pushing for from all the entities here in town. Transparency. So that's our biggest goal, is trying to create that transparency. On the next page, we have our strategic goals. So these are the goals that we want to achieve within our department. These goals, anytime that we have anything that pertains to these goals, they need to follow those 5 values. If one of those goals doesn't follow those 5 values, then it's not something we need to do. Because those 5 values are what creates meaning to those goals. And if you look, we have 6 goals. Engage the community, empower the youth, tell our story, create a positive atmosphere, encourage collaboration, and encourage public leadership. Those are the things that we feel that are the goals that we're trying to achieve.
Okay, I'm Heather Ramirez, part of the community engagement team, as I was introduced.
by doing some of our strategic goals. One of them is, one of the items we're utilizing for doing the strategic goals is pushing social media, our social media presence. I'm sure a lot of people have noticed that we have increased all our social media platforms. We've added additional ones. We've increased our number of followers on our Facebook page, our Instagram, our YouTube. We've increased video post views. We have multiple agencies and other organizations that are working with us and us helping them get PSAs out. I don't know if y'all seen the COVID-19 PSAs. We're also putting out their daily inspirational postings on Facebook every day, trying to keep that positive going as well on a daily basis. We have a bunch of different social media platforms. We're using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, our YouTube page, our website, and LinkedIn. One of the strategic goals was to encourage collaboration, and we were doing this by creating a positive relationship with all the government entities, hosting regular town hall meetings with citizens. We've been working closely with the Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development. We also is empowering the youth. We're creating a PECAS Youth Advisory Commission. We also have community events that encourage the youth and family participation. Right now we have the Easter egg extravaganza. You want to talk a little bit about that?
What we did is, since right now, especially during the time that we're having to practice social distancing, being mindful of everybody, one thing that one of the things that you saw is being positive, creating positivity, encouraging positivity. So we've been giving out Easter eggs that are printed on paper. And I don't know if you guys noticed when you guys came in on the front of City Hall, there's a bunch of Easter eggs that are all over the front windows. Where kids, and not even just kids, their parents have decorated Easter eggs to kind of, create some positivity and, still have something from the community for there. We weren't able to have our community reception this month because of all this, and that was kind of our way to still have some outreach within the community. Our next goal, we look on the next page, is telling our story. When I was on council, we always said we need to toot our own horn. We always need to say what we're doing, how we're moving forward. And we plan, and the way we tell our story is we utilize social media to spread the word. Social media is your fastest way to spread information, and if you could use your own followers to help spread that positivity, you have to capitalize on that. Putting staff and council in public view more. We thank council that joined us and were able to do the PSAs for COVID-19, and then our council that came in and read books. That's a way to, a lot of people see public officials as being untouchable, that they can't go talk to you about things and whatever. So one of the things we try doing is, bring everybody down to the same level to where you guys can actually talk to each other, and there's no, it's on a one-on-one level. They don't feel like you're better. They talk to you like a friend and not like something's going wrong. And we utilize our sources of media, the radio, newspaper. We utilize those big time. Especially when we need to put out to the masses. Another goal is encourage public leadership. Right now, we're helping all the entities to create a countywide leadership program. Because there's always people that say, I have an idea for this, I have an idea for that, and we all know when it comes down to election time, not a lot of people, will step up and will want to run and want to put their name out there, and it's not because they don't want to, it's because they don't know how to do it. They don't know what it is to be a leader. So we're trying to help create those leaders so they can take the next step, and that's what we're hoping with Youth Advisory also, the baby helping those kids at a young age create that leadership, create that leadership role within them so they want to do it. Even if it's not in Pecos, at least wherever they end up, they want to go and put their hands in the town that they're living in. Encourage public participation in city events. We want, and the way you create leaders, if you have the public come in and participate in the stuff that you're having. You know, you have them see what's going on, because you might just spark something in them. Distribute information that requires call to action. You know, when we had our community survey meeting, some of you guys were able to join us. You know, when you looked at the numbers and the figures and whatever, it made you want to do something. It made you want to help be a part of that problem and actually have a solution for it. So we want to distribute information that causes you to want to get up and do something. You know, not just distribute information, but it makes you realize, hey, I need to put my hand in that and help out. And reward citizen participation. You know, we've come down to a time where there is some folks that it's okay, I'm going to do this for you, what can you do for me? You know, so we have to incorporate that in there. It's just in a time that we live now. So that's why we want to reward citizen participation, because if you do that, they may just end up volunteering without getting anything out of it. The next goal, engage the community. City staff participation in community events. You know, one thing is to get the citizens to do something. It's another thing to get our own staff to go out there and participate in this event. So we're trying to encourage city staff and, you know, to put themselves out there in this in events. Encourage participation in community organizations. I'm part of a community organization here in town, and it's hard to get new members, and it's hard to keep the members that you have, you know. And if we can get staff to be part of those organizations, you know, other people like, well, maybe, you know, they're doing it, let's go see what they're doing. One-on-one conversations with citizens, like we talked about. Encourage engaging with compassion and understanding. We want our staff to engage with our citizens, but we want them to understand where they're coming from, and we want them to make them feel like, we want them to feel like we do care, because we do care. But a lot of people feel like we don't care, but we do. So we have to talk to our citizens with that compassion, and we understand what we're going through. You know, city staff is our taxpayers also. They go through the same pains that our citizens do. So we have to show them we do care what's going on, you know, and because it not only affects them, it affects us also. And be transparent with any information for public distributions. Transparency, again, that's the one thing we're always striving for, is transparency. So as much information that we can put out, we know there's times that there's information that it's just not for public view, you know, but anything that we can put out that's gonna help the citizens feel like they know what's going on and we can be trusted, then we've done our job. Creating a positive atmosphere. This goes back to making sure the citizens know their concerns are important. They are important. You know, we want to make them feel like we do care about what's going on. Tooting our own horn, that's another way we're going to create a positive atmosphere. You guys know within the past year and a half, that the city's been involved in tons of projects. And a lot of people have said, well, when is this going to be done? And we're at the point that a lot of those projects are being completed right now. You know, so we need to toot our own horn. Hey, you know, we do have this going on. This is what we're doing for you. And we want to host events at City Hall with public participation. That's another way that we feel that we can get the public and making the public feel that we're on the same page. So we can have more stuff where we encourage the public to come to City Hall when we're able to. We're not able to right now, but when we are able to, that they know that they're more than welcome. This is their home, just like it's home to us during our working hours. This is home to them. This is their home also. So they need to feel like they can't come in. Next few pages, these are some projects that we've initiated. Like I said, we're probably just at the 90 days of starting our department. We've done a lot. Our coffee clutch, which Heather has spearheaded and getting going. I don't know if you guys have tuned into the radio on Wednesdays. Wednesday morning at 8:05 every Wednesday, we'll have a city official talking about what's going on with the city. For these first few shows, we've been having our city staff actually talking to everybody, telling them who they are, you know, what brought them to Pecos, what their plans are, so people can actually feel like they're actually here because they want to be, not because it's just a paycheck, because they actually want to be, you know, and you can see that in all our city staff, everybody, they're here because they want to be. They actually want to make a difference. We know that because we work here with them every day. A lot of the citizens don't think that. So the coffee clutches are a way to really let people know, you know, that our intentions are to help our community. Our customer appreciation reception, we started that in February. You know, people have really looked forward to that, and we were very sad that we couldn't do it this month, you know, and we tried find some way that we can still do that outreach. It just wasn't possible to try to keep up with the safety of it, but we'll be bringing that back, you know, and we really hope to continue that. Next page, we've been doing readings. We had our Dr. Seuss series in February, which was a big hit. Thank you, council, for signing books that were given away to those kids. Those kids were very happy knowing that they had books that were signed by our city council. You know, so they enjoyed it a lot. And there's some pictures of some of our staff that took the time on a Saturday morning to go out there and go read to these kids. You know. The next page, the community survey meeting, we had not the turnout we wanted, but we did have people come out and listen to what the survey had to say, give their feedback. You know, the biggest thing that we got to participate in was the United groundbreaking. I think that was one of the biggest positives for our community. You know, and I was, you know, we were very blessed that we were able to participate with that. Our Fairview Cemetery, brand new fence, brand new beautiful fence that's surrounding that. We were there to help dedicate it. Our sports complex groundbreaking, that's been one of the biggest things many people have been looking forward to for the longest time, and it's finally here. And we were very excited to help with that groundbreaking. The next page, the Pecos Cares, that's something we've been pushing a lot here lately. You know, that's using our resources that the community has allowed us to purchase, and being able to give those resources back to the community for them to use also. They're not just ours, they're for the whole community to use. And the last one that we had in March, we were told that they had three and a half roll-offs that were full. Even though we had to practice social distancing and all this stuff, everybody did what they needed to do, everybody was safe. They still filled up 3.5 roll-offs. And they filled up an appliance trailer on that day. So next Saturday, the 18th, we'll be on the north side doing the Pecos Cares campaign again, and we'll be pushing that very, very, very hard again. That's a way to keep our community clean. Other projects that we've been a part of, there's a big list right there. The Buddy Watch reception, we had those vets that walked through town, and we held a reception for them here. Our law enforcement appreciation video that we did, showing appreciation for Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, that got a lot of people really excited when they saw that video. Our boot unveiling, the boot unveiling was something very cool to add to our city hall. The next few comes down to the COVID-19 that we've been dealing with right now. We've been putting out a bunch of PSAs. Like I said, we have thanked council who have taken the time to record a video. We've put it out. And we not only got council, we got all the entities to help the city participate in putting those PSAs out. So every leader from every entity has created a video and have put something out. And that's one thing that we want. That collaboration between all the entities, we've been trying to get that going. And when we were able to get help from all the entities to stress one main goal, I feel like we really, really accomplished that. The Keep Pecos Beautiful program, Heather's actually working on that project. Oil and gas community research outreach, we've been able to work with some oil and gas companies here that want to help our community. So we've been actively talking with them, talking about projects, things that we can do to actually work together. Census, you guys know the census is very, very important. We're pushing out a lot of information for the census. The Fill the Pool campaign, we've been pushing that out. very, very hard so we can help get a brand new pool. I know Saldana is ready to go and jump in a brand new pool, so really stressing that one. Orange Street Park, there's a park on the east side on Orange Street. If you guys haven't gone by and looked at that park has really transformed. It's a beautiful park, it's a beautiful space, and it's not even done yet. You know, so we're looking for nominations to rename that park after somebody that has really done something for the community. So if council has ideas, please submit your ideas to us and let us know, because there's a lot of deserving people in town that never get recognized. They do a lot of work for our town, they give what they can, and they never get any recognition. So if you guys know, please help us with that project. If you look on the last page, those are things that we're working on for the future. We're working on having a state of the city address where we invite the community to come out and we let them know what we've been working on, what's going on, have an opportunity to have that open dialogue. Community engagement website, we're working on our own website. We've looked at a lot of community engagement teams from other towns, and their community engagement departments really have powerful messages to give out. And we're trying to have create our own website where we can have all that stuff and what's going on, be able to do our surveys, all that good stuff. A kudos campaign, you know, we have our frontline workers that are out there working all day long, every day, helping citizens, and a lot of times the citizens don't know how to thank those workers, the people that have kept their water on or something that's happened and they're out there. So we're creating a campaign to where the citizens can actually let us know, hey, this person came and worked on this leak, they did an amazing job, please let them know. So we'll have an avenue for them to actually tell us, and actually us be able to tell that employee, hey, you were appreciated. So we're working on rolling that out. Me and Heather are actually enrolled in a FEMA PIO training, Public Information Officer training, actually working with FEMA so we know how to work during situations, especially like what we're dealing with right now. So exactly.
Awesome.
So we're working on getting that certification. We have the Veterans Park ribbon cutting that's coming up. That's very exciting. I don't know if you guys have driven by. It's looking amazing, so we're ready for that one. The Mata Rodriguez Park ribbon cutting also, putting a lot of work into that park, and it's just going to look amazing, especially for that neighborhood. Like I said, the Orange Park rededication after it's done. There's one thing that's not on here that I forgot to put up, but we have a Town of Pickett City app that we're working on. It seems like when we were getting ready to work on a whole bunch of these projects, that's when we had our current situation that was put up on us. So a lot of stuff had to be put on hold in order so we can be prepared and let citizens know about this is what's going on. But those are a few things that we're still working on in the background while trying to work on our main goal right now.
You've done an excellent job. You and Heather should be commended.
It's true.
Thank you.
Very good job.
Not everybody sees the news at night, but everybody's on the social media. So
Yeah.
get your word across.
Right.
Fantastic, guys.
And we're always trying to push our social media as much as we can, but we're trying to do as much print as we can too, because we realize we have a population that doesn't use social media, but we realize the population that doesn't have social media, they have neighbors, they have grandkids, they have that and they'll tell them what's going on there, so that's why social media is a big push. They may not have direct access to it, but they know somebody that does that'll tell them.
Good job, guys.
So
Thank you.
Thank
So if
you.
you have any
Amazing
ideas
job.
or anything else you'd like to see, let us know. You know where to find us.
And we have an email. If you guys have ideas, if you have people that say that, hey, how come the city, I have a project, maybe this they can work on or whatever, they can email us at engage@pecosTex.gov. That'll come straight to me and Heather. We'll get those. We'll respond. If we think it's something that needs to be worked on, we'll put a plan together and make sure that we get it worked on. But our doors are always open. If you guys have ideas, let us know. Whatever we can do to help you guys, especially in pushing out your message, that's what we're here for.
You all have done fantastic. I mean, really.
Took off running.
You guys have done
You
a
know,
really great job.
who would have ever thought when stuff like that, I mean, it would help so much, and it has helped a lot of people.
Yeah, we get calls from other entities that they're like, you know, what are you doing? What can we, you know, we're ready to jump on that train. And so, you know, and that's why we want that collaboration. We want to work with everybody, because what we know, they need to know too. And if we can help them, you know, so.
I appreciate that, Heather, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Good job, guys.
Have you ever heard those broadcasts on Wednesday with the city guys and the radio? And they're really good. They're informative. Our city staff gets out there and talks. They don't shy away from anything. You can see they're not nervous about talking on the radio. It's really good to listen to them talk. We have good staff. Okay, let's go on to number 2. Discuss, consider ordinance 20-03-01, establish curfew hours for minors, providing a sunset provision. This second reading by Chief Tarango.
Mayor Council, Lisa Tarango, Chief of Police. And we bring you the second reading for the juvenile curfew, which is something that's already been in place since several years back, around 2012. All we're asking is that it just be redone again with the same language, the same times. Everything seems to be working properly when we utilize it on the weekends or after hours at night. Everything has turned out to be very efficient and essential for us to have the juvenile curfew.
And Chief, with everything that's going on with the coronavirus, of course our kids been out of school and stuff, have we run into any issues after hours with any of the kids?
We have, sir. And so again, that's where the curfew is coming to great help for us. We write the violations as well as any other criminal violations that may come along with it. I'm glad to say not as much adult issues at night. It's unfortunate mainly just the juveniles.
But we do have some adults out there doing their thing.
Well, you know, we get called to residents, which is normal, and it's continuously, you know, the domestics or whatever the case may be. But the bars obviously are not open. There's no real place for the adults at this point. So we haven't had, you know, our call volume at night has really gone down a whole lot. And I'm glad to say the community really seems to be following the rules as far as what the executive orders of the governor has been. So we haven't had really a whole lot of adult issues other than the normal call volume that we would normally have, curfew or not.
Okay, need a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve, ordinance 20-03-01, establishing curfew hours for minors, providing a sunset provision. Second reading as presented by Ms. Lisa Tarango, Police Chief.
Motion from Councilman Saldana, second by Councilman Baca, to approve ordinance 20-03-01, establishing curfew hours for minors. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Number 3.
One question, Chief. Have you any calls on four-wheelers up and down the streets? I'm just curious.
That I've been made aware of, no, we have not.
Okay.
You know, of course, we do, you know, welcome those type of calls because those are not safe street-wise. They're not street legal to be there.
I've had some neighbors say, hey, there's some guys, I guess close to dark. I guess they're out in the country or something, and they're going back home.
We would really like to know about those. I know a couple of years back, we had a lot of issues with that, especially at night. They wanted the police to chase them, some of which have ended up in fatalities and or severe accidents. So we do want to know that and try to get that stopped as soon as we can.
I'll tell them to give you a call.
Please do.
Another question.
Yes,
If for any reason, things change, you know, where, you know, we got a lot of people, out of town people working steel and Pecos, you know, not everything has shut down yet in the oil field. Thank God that it's still booming out there, but, you know, they have a tendency not to stay in their main camps, you know, once they get home, because I mean, you know, they work all day and they come home and they wanna, now we don't have the establishments open for them to congregate. you know, that you could start seeing a lot of congregations where empty lots, you know, people just parking there to sit down and talk and all that. But, you know, if it's gonna affect us the way we, you know, we're trying to stay up social distancing and all that, that's something that we need to look at. I know there by my house, there's an empty lot, and almost every evening there's 3 or 4 vehicles, and I don't know who they are, but you can hear the music blaring, you know. There may be young kids, but it's something to, you know, if something changes,
Yes, sir.
I don't know, we could amend this thing to make it for adults also. I don't know.
And what we've seen, Councilman Saldana, is for the most part, the man camps, if there's 4 or 5 living in a trailer, that's a household.
Yeah.
That's considered a household.
Right,
You know, they
right.
can gather with each other. Again, we go through the parking lots, we remind them of the social distancing, you know, don't congregate for a whole group where you end up with 10 or more, you know, do the social distancing. And because I've seen some of what you're talking about, and I felt it was very interesting that each one would kind of stand by the back end of their truck, and so each truck you would see a different person, and they're talking through the trucks. But yes, you know, they can get together as their household. And again, we tried to do the PSAs with the community engagement team to let them know, here's what the executive orders read. This is what the governor specifies for communities, especially different group settings. You know, they can still go to the park, although we again say practice social distancing, no more than 10 or more. You know, 6 feet apart. If 5 of you want to go jogging, just 6 feet apart. You know, we're not totally, you know, shelter in and stay home and you can't go anywhere, because you're right, we're going to meet resistance if we're going to try to tell adults do what we say or do what the government says. You're going to end up with a worse situation.
You know, and you know, the reason I bring that up, because I really rather us be able to handle it than a governor trying to tell us, you know, set down the rule and this is what we're gonna do with it. And that's like being locked up, you know, when you can't go anywhere.
I understand. You know, and it's shocking that a situation has turned the way it has with this virus, and it's, again, the governor orders are not to, you know, confine people. It's more of a safety issue as far as that goes. And, you know, as sooner as we can follow that, I think the sooner this will pass. And I think for the amount of tests that have been run and the amount of negatives that have been run here in Reeves County alone, I think we're doing pretty good. You know, and the survival rate is over 98% on this. And talking with the hospital and the CEO, she said if you have good health or semi-good health, it'll pass right by and you'll be fine. Is it a horrible sickness? Absolutely. You know, it is. So I just tell people, be mindful of your elders or people with, you know, compromised immune systems, cancer patients, that type of stuff. You know, within our own facility, we've had to be mindful of that as well.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, number 3, discuss consider ordinance 20-03-02, updating and amending chapter 62, vehicle for hire of the town of Pecos City, court ordinance, second reading. Chief?
Mayor, Council, Chief of Police Lisa Tarango, what we did with the vehicles for hire, we do have a vehicle for hire or taxi ordinance, if you will, with the town of Pecos City. Although it was very antiquated and outdated, we had to kind of move it up with the times of what's going on with Uber, Lyft, that type of stuff. We have had several inquiries to start a limo service or taxi type service, and that kind of led us to modernize the taxi ordinance that we already had in place. So in the language you'll see where it talks about the rates, we want to be able to identify the vehicles that will be driven, make sure that they're sound and safe, check the insurance, and then be able to do background checks on the drivers. So again, it's just out of safety and precaution for the community and who might be riding in those vehicles.
And we'll be okay with us checking their background and stuff, Chief?
If they want to operate in our community, they will be. Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'll make the motion, Mayor, to accept the second reading of ordinance number 2003-02, and ordinance amending chapter 62, vehicles for hire on the city code of ordinances providing for an effective date and for severability, as presented by our police chief.
Okay, in a second. Okay, have a motion by Councilman Tellez, second by Councilwoman Baca, to approve ordinance 20-03-02, updating and amending chapter 652, vehicle for hire in the town of Pecos City. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Number four.
Thank you, Chief.
Discuss, consider final action property known as Block 87 in P, all EXC 1 and 2nd Pecos Edition, 602 North Cedar. Mr. Donnie?
Mayor, Council, Donnie McKinney, Chief Building Official. This is nothing new to any of you, 602 North Cedar. Ms. Nichols is passing around the pictures I took an hour and a half ago, so they're fresh. So, and as you can see from the pictures, absolutely nothing has been done. When I came before you the last time, which was about 2 months ago, I kind of advocated to give her a little time because she had a contractor that was going to pull a permit and do some work, get that roof redone. Well, he brought us the application, but he never paid for it and has never contacted us. Until today when I went and talked to Miss Lou, and then the contractor called me, oh, I'm still going to do it. He told me, just give me 2 more weeks and I'll promise I'll show you some progress. And my statement to him was, I will relay to the council what you said, but my recommendation is that we go forward with demolition because if you look back at the minutes, we've been dealing with this for 2 years. And every time it's, well, we'll do it this time, we promise.
Now, does that lady own the lot itself if we were to demolish the property?
Yes, sir. What would happen there, if we demo it, then we would put a lien on the property, or would send her a bill. If she didn't pay the bill, we'd put a lien on the property. So she'd still own the property, but the city would have a lien until she paid for our cost of demoing it. So basically what we're asking for is authorization to go ahead and demolish the structure.
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion that we, go ahead and go through with and approve the final action on the property known as Block 87 MP, all EXC 1 and 2nd Pecos Edition, 602 North Cedar, as presented by Mr. Donnie McKinney, Chief Building Official.
I'll second that, Mayor. And on the same motion, I know that we had at a previous meeting, we had talked to Ken Winkles, and he said he might be interested, or the PEDC might be interested in buying that lot.
And Mr. Winkles contacted her from my understanding, and she acted like she wasn't interested in selling it.
So it's in our hands now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Saldana, second by Councilman Tellez, to go ahead and approve final action for demolition of property 602 North Cedar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, number 5. Discuss, consider resolution 20-04-01R, formalization and adopting the double and expired permit fee policy. Mr. Donnie?
Mayor, Council, Donnie McKinney, Chief Building Official. What we're doing here is the city is, for a while now, been charging a double fee if someone starts work without a permit or if they let their permit expire. And we're just making it official in the fee schedule that if you look on there, it doesn't have a price. It basically, if they paid $100 for their permit, we would charge them $200 when they renew it if they let it expire. And same thing if they start work before they obtain their permit, whatever the permit costs, we'll just make it twice that much.
Donnie, if somebody for some reason or other they can't start, do we have a little leverage where they can come and talk to you and say, look, I want to start, but this is a fair reason I can't start? Is that possible? Do we have anything like that? Because sometimes things happen.
Absolutely. By the code of the building codes that we've adopted, the chief building official does have the authority to extend a permit. So if they'll call me before it expires, I can extend that permit. But once it expires, it's kind of out of my hands.
I understand.
And they can also give us all the paperwork and then, just ask us for a start date when they think they're gonna be able to do it, and then the permit time will start when they start work, so.
Okay. Okay, need a motion?
I make the motion, Mayor, to accept resolution number 20-04 XXR
01.
001. Fee schedule amendment for miscellaneous community development fees.
I'll second.
Okay, have a motion by Councilman Teh, second by Councilwoman Baca, to approve resolution 20-04-01R, normalization and adopting the Dublin expired permit fee as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Don. Oh, you're still up.
I've got one more.
Number 6, discuss consider ordinance 20-04-01, amending ordinance 18-05-02 regarding seasonal vendors, first reading. Mr. Donnie?
Mayor, Council, once again, Donnie McKinney, Chief Building Official. On this one, we're asking to amend the seasonal food vendor permit. Right now, it says no more than 4 months out of the year. We're asking that it be moved to 6 months, because if you read further on, it says between April 1st and September 30th. So what's been happening in the past is they have to pick the 4 months they want to use, but this way we just make it one permit for the whole season. So that's what we're asking for. That way, if they want to go from April 1st to September 30th, they can do that all under one permit. And the second part of that, in the license fees, it talks about how much it'll cost. Right now it says $250 a month or $750 for the season. We would raise that, since we're giving them more time, to $1,200. But if they do the season pass, then they still save $300 if they did the month over the monthly rate. So we give them a break if they want to do the whole 6 months.
Why is the idea of the jump down from 250 to 1,200? That's
Because we're adding 2 months. Like I said, it still gives them a break, because if they pay the monthly fee for 6 months, it'd be $1,500. So this way, if they want to do the whole season, they still get a break on it. And then the other thing we're adding is that, again, going back to that double fee thing, we're putting it in a couple different places, because we've had a few citizens ask me, where does it say that? It does say in a couple places, but now we're putting it where it's very easily accessible. They can see where those double fees come from. So that's why we're adding a number 8 to the license fees.
Now, is this pretty standard anywhere?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the building code actually says that there's a couple different ways you can charge them for late fees and things like that. One of them is double fee. So a lot of communities do use that as their penalty.
Okay, need a motion.
Make a motion, we approve ordinance 20-04-01, amending ordinance 18-05-02 regarding seasonal vendors. First reading, as presented by Chief Building Official Donnie McKinney.
Second.
Second.
Is a motion by Councilman Saldana, second by Councilman Tellez, to approve ordinance 20-04-01, amending ordinance 18-05-02 regarding seasonal vendors. First reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mayor, Council, thank you. Now I'll get out of your hair.
Thank you.
Earlier, I asked Donnie if I'm replacing a wooden fence with a metal fence, if I need to get a permit, just to be sure. He says yes, or you'll be ticketed, just like everybody else.
Okay, discuss consider resolution 20-04-02R, approving a waiver for the payment in lieu of taxes pilot for fiscal year 2019. Ms. Purcell? Hi, Ms. Purcell.
Good evening, Melanie Purcell, Finance Director. It's been a little while. Just wanted to bring this forward. The Pecos Housing Authority and the town of Pecos City have been in partnership since 1966. And as part of that original agreement, there is a provision for how a payment in lieu of taxes is calculated, 10% of actual rent, not to exceed what would normally be paid in property tax. That waiver, the pilot itself is what is included within that contract. For the past 10 to 15 years, as best as we can tell, the Pecos Housing Authority has requested that the city waive that pilot. And so what they've done is they're asking in effect to receive general fund services for free from the city. So property taxes are used to support police, fire, etc., those type of general activities, and the payment in lieu is a reduced rate version of that, and they are asking to waive that. So what the impact is outlined here is about $27,000. One thing I do want to note that this particular request is a retroactive request for their fiscal year, and that is not in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles, which of course gives people like me great heartburn. So I am asking that if you choose to go forward with the waiver, that you make a decision not just for their request, but for the following year, so that I have the comfort of having a forward look and can make adjustments within the budget proposal that comes to you, if that is your desire. So I just wanted to bring that was the request that was brought to us late last week. So,
Did you see how long this has been going on?
The best we can tell is maybe 15 years. We don't know what started it. Yeah, it just simply refers to a past practice and then refers to the contract in reviewing the actual agreement language. The waiver is not mentioned. There is no provision for a waiver within that agreement. The agreement specifies how a pilot is to be calculated, and that is in compliance with state law.
So you're okay
So the
with
waiver
that?
is wholly the purview of the council's decision.
You're okay with that?
But we've done it for the last 15 years.
That's my
why I'm
understanding.
asking, are you okay with that? Because I know that it's a lot of money.
Okay, so
Mayor, let me add one thing on the pilot. Pilot is payment in lieu of taxes, so when they were organized back in 1966 or 64, they weren't going to pay taxes, but they wanted to make a payment in lieu of taxes, which was calculated at that time, I think, at about half of what the taxes would have been back then. So it started off that they were gonna get a break from taxes, but pay substantially less by paying a pilot, payment in lieu of taxes to make up for the tax loss. So that went on for 40 years, I guess, and then they
We need
decided
to
they wanted to give up,
recalculate
they
that.
wanted to stop paying payment in lieu of taxes. So that's the history of it.
I understand, because we're going so far back, but yet there's never, everything has gone up. But this contract remains the same, so, you know, I feel like, okay, well, we're losing somewhere, and somebody's gaining somewhere.
Yeah, but we still gotta think that of what they provide, the service they provide for the city, because there's a lot of folks out here that live there.
But where is the money, where is this money, like, if they're not paying it into taxes, I'm just not understanding where, is it going back into the facilities, or is it operating?
I think so, I think that's how it is. I don't know much about how that system works, but, you know, especially right now with everything going back, we're going backwards instead of booming again. I think we need to leave it alone for the time being and see how we come out of this. And then maybe get with them to, because I really don't understand it that well without looking at all the.
It just seems like with the housing authority, we keep losing out, because we keep giving them breaks with water, which just happened, and now we haven't done nothing with the taxes for 16 years.
It's been more than that.
And again, he's managed to have a full house for years and years. So I don't understand why we would continue to say, wait a minute, it's gonna go up a little bit this year. Instead of, you know, I mean, you've had it really good for 16 years. I can't go to my tax office and say, hey, I don't wanna pay this time, can you wait till next year and I'll pay next year? That's not gonna happen, because they're gonna keep going up. You know, I think that everybody in residents in Pecos got 20% hike, so we voted on the emergency, plan. Why not these guys?
Right.
You know, I mean, everybody got 20%. I say we need to give them at least that, the 20%.
Did their rents go up, you know, with the boom and stuff? I'm wondering if what kind of, I don't know, what kind of break they gave the residents, their tenants, which probably not very much. I've heard rent is expensive all over town, so the only fair thing to do is to make them accountable.
Just give a little bit. You know, I mean, like it happens to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody that owns a house with 20%, well, a little more than 20%, because we also pay a little more on some other taxes. But
Gotta be fair, yeah.
Yeah, fair,
But,
fair.
I mean, that's the way I think. I mean, we
Across
haven't
the
done
board.
nothing for 16, that's a long time, that's a lot of changes in 16 years. But again, that's my 2 cents. I don't know what y'all think, y'all are the ones that vote.
Mayor and council, just to clarify, if the council decides not to approve this waiver, then they will be subject to the pilot, from the sixties, which means that they will still be paying a reduced fee, that they won't be paying their full property.
But we'll be
tax.
able to go back and correct that.
But it would be-
Right now, all we're trying to do is approve this pilot, and if they don't approve it, then next time we want them to present a little bit, Melanie to present if we can go up a little bit.
They're asking to approve a waiver of the pilot.
Yes.
And what he's saying is if you don't grant the waiver of the pilot itself still exists.
Until we present something to bring them up.
Until there's a renegotiation, recognizing that state law has some pretty specific regulations about how that's calculated. And I do apologize, I do not have enough data to tell you more.
Before we make a decision, can we see if Melanie can get some more information for us?
But that's what I was saying, is not to, I'm asking you guys not to approve the pilot and just leave it as is.
Yeah, not waive it, not
Yeah.
approve the waiver.
So I would ask, what do you want to know more of? I know I first, my mind immediately started going into what's the history, what would the taxes actually be, those kind
Or would
of
that be-
financial data.
Has rent gone up
Yeah.
in 16 years? I'm sure it has, but I've had officers stay there and they pay a pretty good penny, when
How
they
do they,
stay there,
what
so.
does it, like, if we give them this waiver or whatever, what does that, how does that money, does it, I don't know, I just wanna know what the operating, how it works.
So I'll attempt to answer the questions best as I can. One is that because they're not a government, they're not a agency subject to the city government, they're not required to show us how they use their money. They are required to do audits because they do receive government funding, but we haven't seen those audits.
We have not found them on the federal site. So with
The contract, again, going back to the sixties, specifically states, that they being the housing authority, should provide us with their calculations of not only what their tax is based off their tax bill, but based off the calculations, what the pilot payment would be. Quite frankly, because the city has been in the habit of providing this waiver for so long, they've gotten out of the habit of providing those numbers. The requests for the last couple of years since I've been here have just been asking for the waiver without going through the calculation of what the pilot would be. And so we don't really even know what we're waiving, other than it's the entirety of what the property tax would
And
be.
that's what I'm saying, we need to present it to him and say, look, council wants to look at numbers. That's what we want.
That's true.
You want help, then we'll give us numbers. You don't want help, then we'll just vote that we take the part away and you pay taxes.
Yeah, they did provide the calculation, obviously, for the $26,000 change, but I don't have enough to answer beyond that.
Yes, ma'am.
What the information is, and of course.
You can see from the attachments, the documents that are in place are like, yeah, they're really old. They haven't been used for a while,
So
So can we just, Sam, can we just go ahead and leave this alone?
So you can take no action, and we can go back and ask that they provide the calculations that are spelled out in the agreement. You can take action to deny the waiver, which means that the pilot would continue to be, and they could come in and make a second request. Or you could approve the waiver
And again, I understand where Councilman Saldan is coming from, the people that live there and stuff, but, 16 years is a long time, that things change, and, I mean, we just wanna look and make sure that we're going in the right direction with this, instead of just saying, yeah, sure, why not?
It's
Well,
been longer than 16 years. I've been here 25.
And it's always been just
Yeah, it's just,
wave it,
yeah.
and I think, tread lightly, because I don't want to, box any of the previous councils or this council in, but it's always been an expectation to be waived, but it is not a contractual, based off of the contract. The contract is for a pilot in lieu of taxes, not to waive it.
So we can go ahead and put no action on this?
That's certainly one of the.
Is everybody okay with no action?
So what we'll do is we'll respond to Mr. Salcido and ask that he provide the backup information as per the agreement between the city and the housing authority.
Okay, we're gonna go to number 8. Discuss consider resolution 20-04-03R, approving the purchase of 7.07 acres, being lot 1, block 1, Clark's addition, being a replate of blocks 1 and 9, Clark's addition to the town of Pecos City, located at Alberta and D Street, in the amount of $183,820. Ms. Purcell?
Melanie Purcell, Finance Director. This item is to purchase property that will then be used to house contractors who are working on the water sewer plant and potentially as available to assist with the baseball complex. One of the large components of the costs of all of these construction projects is housing our contractors. So this particular property would be able to be used for RV lots, in which contractors are responsible obviously for their own physical location, but we would be able to cut a significant amount of the cost that we would normally pay for them coming here. So it was reasonable price, fell well within the appraised value, and it would be coming from the water sewer fund. Once those projects are complete, we would then sell the property and return those funds back to the water sewer fund. But it's this time, until those projects are complete, it would be considered a direct expense of the water sewer fund. We would use it then to support and reduce the contract costs of building those major projects.
And we have it now in the
Pardon?
fund? We have it in the fund?
Yes, sir.
Is it budgeted? I mean,
It would be coming from retained earnings. This was not planned when we first started this conversation last July, recognizing that the wastewater treatment plant itself is a $50 million project, and recognizing how large the component of housing was going to become. That's when we started looking for property, saying, okay, do we have any other options? Because housing can be at a premium in this area, and so if we're paying, even now, lower rates nightly for contractors to come in, that becomes exorbitant.
so on
These
that.
would be RVs, Melanie?
Yes, sir.
So, more RVs.
Yeah, but not not permanent or even quasi-permanent. This
Just
is
for the
strictly for the
workers.
life of the project, so we can complete our work at the best price possible, complete the projects that have been budgeted, and then move forward.
And we won't only have them, you said some of the people working on the park as well, the baseball field.
Yes, the reason we can authorize this from water and sewer, however, is because the primary purpose would be for the construction of the wastewater plant.
And where's this property? Right on the other side of the tracks?
Yeah, yes.
Right,
Yes.
right off of Alberta?
Yes.
That's the one that we talked about here, what, a couple months ago maybe?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
That-
Yes.
And they would do the building. I mean, they would set up everything. The city doesn't have to,
Our portion would probably be clearing off the lot. There is quite a bit of sagebrush and trash that's accumulated over the last who knows how long. So we would probably clear the lot, and we would extend water and sewer about 200 feet from the existing on B Street to get to the site. Our anticipation is that the contractors that would be using it have the equipment and that's what they're doing for us on both projects, so that they could help us install the utilities at a lower cost, and again, it would be a temporary use.
And these are the same guys that are gonna be building the baseball fields, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is for it's those contractors.
Those as well as the wastewater plant contractors.
Okay.
So we expect the baseball plant to take hopefully less than a year, hopefully significantly less than that. But they would be the first ones in, so they would be doing a lot of the initial work on the project. In the meantime, we're designing the wastewater treatment plant, and then once the baseball are out of there, the wastewater contractors come in, and you know, a wastewater plant takes a rather large group of people. It's very similar to the rec center. If you've been around there, you know, they easily have 50 people working on that site, plus subcontractors that are coming in now. And so we did a very rough estimate that if we had 20 RV spots, and say the market rate is $750, which right now is a pretty good rate, over the course of building the wastewater treatment plant, we would be actually saving $180,000. And so the money that we spent, our savings double that, and so we would get it back, and then we would also have the ability to sell that land back.
Once it's complete.
Yes.
Okay.
Need a motion?
May I make a motion to accept resolution 20-04-03R, a resolution authorizing the purchase of Lot 1, Block 1, Clark's Addition, being a replat of Block 1 and 9 Clark's Addition to the town of Pickett City, located at Alberta and B Street, in the amount of $183,820, providing for severability and an effective date, as presented by Ms. Purcell.
Okay, have a motion by Councilman Tellez, second by Councilwoman Baca, to go ahead and approve resolution 20-04-03R as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll go on to number 9. Discuss, consider setting budget calendar for, fiscal year 2020 and 2021. Here we go.
I know you've missed this conversation. So bringing it back, it's that season again. Honestly, budget season never really ends. But what we have in front of you is a proposed calendar for having the budget meetings. We have tried to ensure that we have enough meetings to cover any conversation, in-depth conversation that the council desires. So it's possible that not all of these will be needed. It depends heavily on the decision process and the conversations that we had. Within this, we are requesting 2 special meetings, including Thursday, May 7th and Thursday, June 28th. I've tried to keep it on your Thursday evenings as much as possible with your regular meetings, but these 2 special meetings would allow us to fit everything in for discussion and presentation. In particular, the May 7th being an opportunity to talk about the goals, the strategic map, and the current economic conditions and what we anticipate potentially impacting us current year and next year. So we are asking for your approval and agreement to attend.
Can we put a time limit on it? Not no 10:30, 11 o'clock. My beauty sleep starts at 9.
I'm with you. I turn into a pumpkin by 10:15. So definitely would be looking to keep it concise, but we and I will be brutally honest, given our current conditions, you will be receiving a lot of written materials because we have a lot to communicate and a rather limited spectrum of ability to do that verbally.
Alright, y'all see the calendar. Any questions?
Well, I'll make a motion that we, with certain goals, that we approve setting the budget calendar for fiscal year 2020 and 2021, as presented by Finance Director Ms. Melanie Purcell.
I'll second.
A motion by Councilman Aldana, second by Councilwoman Trujillo, to go ahead and approve the setting the budget calendar fiscal year 2021. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
You might want to look at your dates.
No.
in
Yes,
June.
ma'am. Double check.
Or the rodeo?
No,
No.
no,
There's a Thursday off.
yes.
Correct.
And it
That
is
is a
really,
little-
you're right.
Well, you ever got on the
It should
28th
be
and
the
on the
28th.
25th?
Yeah, it says Thursday, June 25th.
I am off. Okay, I apologize. Okay, that corrected. It should be June 18th.
Okay.
I was trying to shrink it. I promise.
I was like, wait a minute.
Thank you very much.
So we'll set it June 18th.
That would be June 18th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 10, discuss consider resolution 20-04-0R, to amend resolution 20-03-02R, postponing the special election for council seat number 5 until November 3rd, 2020. Ms. Nichols?
Mayor and Council, Syra Nichols, City Secretary. This resolution is just an amendment to the last resolution you guys approved, postponing the election into November. Governor Abbott sent out a memo and asked that we put required wording into the resolution just to share and let everyone know that all the applications for candidates, they are still considered valid. Just because we moved the election does not, it doesn't void them. Those applications are still valid through November. Also, if anybody has sent in applications for mail-in ballots and mailed those in already, those are considered valid. We are going to use those and mail out ballots in November for that election as well. And I also put in the dates for early voting. Early voting, and now that it will be in October, it will begin on October 19th through October 30th. And I also had to put in there that we will be coordinating with the county clerk. We have not spoken with her yet. I'll let you know that much. We have not spoken with her. We are not sure if the city and school and hospital will be holding their elections on their own as we have in the past, or if we'll be doing a joint agreement to have the county run the elections for us. So we will decide that at a later time once the election gets closer.
Okay, need a motion?
But nobody else can file.
Yes, that's another thing. Once the timeline for the November election starts, I will be following that same timeline. So I will open it back up to new filings, for registering, for people to register to vote. Their timeline has extended so that they can vote in that election. And yes, so I'll be following the November.
But nobody else can come into the, let's say another person wants to be
candidate?
another candidate.
As far as I read, yes, I'm gonna open that back up.
Oh, you can?
Yes, because I'm gonna have to order the.
But the ones that already filed.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look more into that. It's still kind of.
I'll have to check, but I
Yes.
think it's gonna be closed. I think that the filing will be closed as of the deadline that it was for the May election. So the same persons who qualified and filed for the May election will be on the ballot in November. But I'll do some research with Sarah to make sure that I'm giving y'all the correct interpretation of the law. It's been moving pretty fast.
I'll keep y'all updated. I'm getting memos left and right about this. And it's new to all of us, so we're still learning.
Thank you, Sarah.
One question I have. We decided to move it to November the 3rd.
Yes.
How does the community feel about that? I mean, do we have any feedback or people saying,
No, I haven't gotten any feedback, and the few people I have brought it up to, they agreed that a lot of our older populations are the ones that vote, and they're the ones more likely to get sick, and we want to protect them from the.
And usually the what do you call the people that sit there in the voting booth?
The judges.
The judges are.
Election workers.
They're always, older folks.
Yes.
And they actually submitted a letter to me stating that they were concerned because most of their workers are in the high-risk categories with COVID-19, and asked that we did consider that. with elections, you have a lot of people coming in.
True.
Regardless of whether they're 6 feet apart and there's 10 in a room, just having that many people come in means that you're increasing your chances of transmission. And so we have been requested from our judges that that be postponed because they did
And I saw in the news where somebody held it
In Wisconsin.
in
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, and
Mhm.
they
It's
closed
not-
from 12 voting places, they went down to 5 because
Right.
nobody wanted to come out and run the voting. So they had long lines, people just waiting.
Yeah, they had
Schools.
National Guard come out to fill those
Yeah, it's a horrible situation.
those places. So the judges
It was
went
all
up.
political, I believe. I hate to say it.
Earlier today, I was reviewing some of the Texas Municipal League advisory on postponing of the election. And the governor's directives, it's not quite mandatory, but it's essentially mandatory to postpone it because they don't want people to get sick during the election season. And even though, as I've explained to you all before, we're in an unusual position where we're supposed to have an election within 120 days of a vacancy, and the governor's directives at TML said, well, yeah, that's true, but then postponing the election really trumps that, and so if y'all postpone it, you should have the election in November. So you can't delay the election forever, but really all the advisories we get from Austin say this is what should be done.
Okay, need a motion?
I'll make the motion, Mayor, to accept resolution number 20-04-04R, a resolution of the town of Pecos City, Reeves County, Texas, amending resolution 20-03-02R, postponing the election ordered as per resolution 20-01-06R, preserving candidate filings and repealing conflicting resolution, establishing procedures for the postponed election, and providing an effective date. That's provided by our Sarah.
Okay. Have a motion by Councilman Day, second by Councilman Baca, to approve resolution 20-04-04R, amend resolution 20-03-02R, postpone the special election for Council seat 5 until November 3rd, 2020. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On the number 11, update, elevated storage tank rehabilitation project, Mr. Lisenby.
Mayor, Council, Howdy Lisenby, Assistant City Manager. We had a project that was recently bid out to rehabilitate the water tower on the east side of town, or what's called the East Elevated Storage Tank. Water industry practice usually is within 10 to 15 years, you have to go back and repaint or resurface at least the interior of these water tanks. And it's been longer than that since this tank has been updated. So we had Frank Spencer and Associates do the design work for this rehab. We found that there were a few minor deficiencies in the tank that need to be corrected, as well as a repainting. We bid that out this month and received no bids. Nobody bid on that job. We suspect it's probably because of the COVID and everyone's just worried about getting out and about. So we're going to reach out to contractors that do this work, that are known and that are reputable. We're going to talk to them and see if it's something they're interested in, and then we'll rebid it when the time is appropriate. So we still have to do the work, but the timing didn't work out for this project right now. It's not a large project, and so we think most everybody just decided to wait. And so that's the update for that particular project.
Okay, thank you. Number 12, discuss, consider resolution 20-04-5R, abandonment of right-of-way as a closure of a short section of North Cypress Street at C Street. Mr. Howdy.
Mayor, Council, Howdy Lisenby, Assistant City Manager. If you are aware, just on the north side of the railroad tracks, Texas New Mexico Power is expanding a large electrical substation, and they're having to expand it even more. So they're acquiring some property from Colgate that is at this intersection. And the property is a very odd angle because of some old section lines. And so there is a section of Avenue or Cypress Street at that Avenue C intersection that goes south and then just dead ends at a section line. And the property that TNMP is buying, that entire property is going to be a substation. So there's never going to be a need to construct this street, and it's about 40 feet of street that would just go to nowhere. So rather than retain the right of way for a street to nowhere, staff feels like it does provide a public good because it allows them to increase the electrical infrastructure for our community. And it's in a location that it's never going to be feasible to build that street. And we have no water or sewer utilities within that right of way. So staff is recommending that we abandon that section as surveyed out by TNMP.
How much right away is it?
Standard Street, 40, 60 feet, 40 feet?
60 feet.
60 feet?
Yeah.
And about a length of 40 feet.
It's
Will it be just a piece of dead end
exactly.
right next to that big station they just built?
And it's not constructed right now.
Right.
And so if we don't abandon it, at some point in time we would have to construct it, and it would be a road to nowhere, and then we would have to maintain it. And so there would be some costs that the city would incur in the future if we ever did build it. But with TNMP purchasing it, there will be no other development in the future than this electrical substation.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 20-04-05R, abandonment of right of way as a closure of a short section of North Cypress Street at C Street. That's presented by Assistant City Manager Mr. Harry Lesenby.
I'll second.
Okay. Have a motion by Councilman Saldana, second by Councilman Baca, to approve resolution 20-04-05R, abandonment of right of way at a closure of a short section of North Cypress Street at C Street. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On number 13, discuss consider resolution 20-04-06R, approve and authorize the contract for guaranteed maximum price number 2 civil package for the baseball complex. Mr. Lisenby.
Mayor, Council, Howdy Lisenby, Assistant City Manager. This is a project that has been a long time coming for this community. And so as we've discussed before, this project is being constructed and delivered through a process called Construction Manager at Risk. And the CMAR for this project is Bradbury Stam, that has an extensive amount of experience building baseball complexes, sports complexes, and related locations. And so we've been working with them on the design team for an extended period of time. And so on April 2nd, we closed all the bids for all of the work packages for this entire project and totaled up. And if you'll recall, guaranteed maximum price package number 1 was just over $2.5 million that was approved previously. And so this is all the rest of the work to complete the project. And so it came in at $15,554,257. And so when all the numbers were totaled up, we are going to be proposing a pure $18 million construction budget as we've budgeted. So the project came in actually under budget because of the stuff that we cut out. Mm-hmm. And so we've kept that money in there as a contingency so that now we can start adding back a few of the things that we cut out. We're not adding back a whole field. We don't have the money to do that. But there were some site amenities like sidewalks. There were some things that we cut out of the project to get in budget. And now that we know we're in budget, we can start layering a few of those things back in there. So we are recommending the approval of a guaranteed maximum price of $18 million and get this project started.
They
Awesome.
don't have a problem starting with what's going on?
All of their contractors have indicated they're ready to go. The one thing we don't know is suppliers. So the contractors are ready to show up and start work, but for example, whoever makes the baseball netting is their factory on shutdown right now. So there could be some delays on materials and supplies, but the laborers and the contractors are ready to get started even in this current climate.
Yeah, the main hold up, well, not the main hold up, the main building is the foundation of it.
Yeah.
And, so hopefully by that time, everything can start getting back to normal. And
Yeah, their first phase of construction is gonna be just dirt work.
Yeah.
And so they'll have their heavy equipment here, they'll start pushing dirt around and digging foundations. That'll take them probably a month or two
Yeah.
before the rest of the force starts showing up. And so I think this will move along fairly well.
So we came under almost 3 million, almost 2.5 million under budget.
We came in $800,000 under budget. If you take this
Oh,
number
from
plus
that,
the
yes.
2.5 that we proved previously,
Right.
we came in about $800,000 under budget. But we're leaving that in there because there are some things that we need to be able to layer back in. So we
I got-
cut things out.
I got another question before we decide. We had discussed putting it out to, companies if they were interested in investing into it, did we ever get any kind of feedback on that?
I'm not aware of any response that was received, but we would still be interested in entertaining it.
We have, sorry, Seth Sorensen, city manager, we have had a campaign to invite people to participate. We have not received any interest and we have not received any checks. We would love them, and the CES team does have that on their list of projects to push. Knowing the economy as it is right now, I'm not sure how likely that is, but if we were to secure one in the future, we could certainly use that to pay back the fund and pay down the debt that we've taken on for this project.
The interest would probably come when they start seeing something being built.
Right.
We
Or
hope.
it could be, yeah.
We hope, yeah.
We agree. So there's still opportunity
Yeah.
for some kind of naming rights. Finally, I do want to clarify so that everybody here and those watching understand. A couple of years ago, the city council authorized some funds for the lighting, the light poles for this field. And so that came in at about $1.5 million for all the sports lights to illuminate the fields. That was awarded a couple of years ago. So that's in addition to the 18 million we have right now. So a true total construction cost is going to be about 19.5, but the funds for the lights was awarded a couple of years ago and was already allocated. And so that plus the 18 that we're providing today is the full construction cost of this park.
Let's get after it.
I agree.
Do we have a completion time? I'm just curious.
They're saying 15 months,
15 months.
but
Wow.
depending on how things go, we'll just have to play it by ear. If there's major supplier delays because of COVID, that could push out a little bit. But right now, they're projecting 15 months of construction time.
Okay,
We're ready, yeah.
a motion?
Yes, we are.
Number 13.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve and authorize a contract for a guaranteed maximum price, number 2, civil package for the baseball complex do you want me to state them?
Yeah.
To Bradbury Stan, correct?
Yes.
As presented by Harry Lisenby, the city manager.
Can you second?
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Councilman Baca, second by Councilman Saldana to approve resolution 20-04-06R. Approve the authority contract for guaranteed maximum price number 2. Sale package for the baseball complex. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. Council.
Number 14, discuss consider resolution 20-04-07R, superseding resolution 19-09-03R, requesting the revision of the text dot right of way for Stafford Boulevard and 80th Street. Mr. Johnson?
Mayor and Council, Seth Sorensen, City Manager. As you recall, last fall, the council agreed to accept a portion of Stafford and of 80th Street. We submitted that to the TxDOT office, and they replied requesting that we include specific language, which you now find under section 3 of the current resolution. And it states that the town of Pickett City is willing to assume jurisdiction, control, and maintenance of the right-of-way in question for public road purpose. Basically, they just want us to spell out that yes, we will take care of it after we take ownership of it. They also took exception to our request that we get a 1-for-1 credit for this road, for other roads. They basically said, no way, Jose, take it out, and so we did, and so that is the resolution that is before you now.
Still a pretty good piece to work with. Okay, need a motion, please?
So, just real quick, as far as maintaining these streets, are we capable of that?
We are, and as part of their process, they should come in and do any kind of major rehab. If you look at both these streets, they're actually in pretty good shape. They were built to TxDOT standards. Not to say that city standards are less, but they built them to a higher standard, let's say. And so they're in good shape. It doesn't mean that they'll be in good shape forever. They will have to be part of our pavement management approach, and so they will need maintenance. But yes, we do have the ability, especially given our dedicated sales tax, to maintain these roads.
We can do with what we want with them.
Yes.
Make room for people turning.
Yes,
Left.
as well as providing some access to some of the development that's going on right now that TxDOT is currently not allowing.
Motion, please?
I'll make the motion, Mayor, to accept resolution number 20-04-07R, superseding resolution 19-09-03R, requesting the reversion of TxDOT right-of-way for Stafford Boulevard and 80th Street as presented by our city manager.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Tellez, second by Councilman Trujillo, to go ahead and approve resolution 20-04-07R, superseding resolution 19-09-03R as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 15, discuss consider resolution 20-04-08R, agreeing to deed a 1/3 interest in lot 2, block 3, Broadway addition to the town of Pecos City property on 4th Street and Lena Street to the Pecos Economic Development Corporation. Mr. Sorensen?
Mayor and Council, Seth Swenson, City Manager, presenting this on behalf of the PEDC. Mr. Ken Winkles is searching high and low for property, and he came across this piece, which has been divided between the county, the school, and the city in equal thirds since 1968. And probably because it was divided in thirds, no one's touched it, but he's willing to do the legwork to get the other two entities to also hopefully deed over their third interest. This is actually part of a larger economic development project that he is also working on, where if he can secure this, he'll be able to flip that for a property on 3rd Street. And so I do think it's in the interest of the city to give up our 1/3 non-controlling interest to the EDC. I would request that we do it at no cost, and hopefully the other two entities will follow suit.
Where is Lena Street? I don't remember.
It's a very short section.
It's like a tiny little.
Yeah, it's not even a full block.
This way, that way?
It's perpendicular to 4th Street, close down between the old field hospital and the old TxDOT yard.
Oh, okay, there. That's where my mom lives, in that area. Okay.
By
Yeah, I
Washington,
didn't know
in that area,
Lena
there's one
Street
at
there. Where else been?
Where you been, what, Councilman?
I passed by there because I'm smelling tortillas.
Okay, need a motion, please?
I make a
Motion.
You didn't wanna come up. I make a motion that we approve resolution 20-04-08R, agreeing to a deed of 1/3 interest in lot 2, block 3, Broadway addition to the town of Pecos City, property on 4th Street at Lena Street, to the Pecos Economic Development Corporation, as presented by City Manager, Mr. Seth Swanson.
Okay, second?
I will second.
So I have a motion by Councilman Santana, second by Councilman Trujillo to accept resolution 20-4-08R, agree to the deed of 130 to lot 2, block 3, Broadway addition to the town and city of Pecos. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Do we need to go into executive session? Anything that needs to get discussed during the executive session?
I want to.
Okay. We will go ahead and come out of regular, session. Time is 7:10. We will go into executive session under Texas Government Code 551-071, 551-072, 551-074, and 551.087. Back in general session, time is 7:19.
Are they good?
Yes.
Seth started,
Started it?
he started the motor.
Okay. Is there anything to come before the board, council from executive session?
What was the time you got out?
7:18.
Thank you.
No, start 7:19. Okay, nothing to be discussed. We're on to G. Any items that we need to discuss for next agenda for council? You can think so? I know right now a lot of it is by ear, of course, with what's going on with our residents, with our city. We have to play by ear, but again, it's very important, like Oscar was saying, that we the leaders of the community should be out there setting the example as well. By, you know, if I see somebody within 6 feet, I will probably say something, which I have, you know, because that is part of what we want to keep it out of Pecos. This is part that we have to do to keep it out. And I wanna know that everybody in Pecos feels safe because we are doing and we're saying something. So I hope that everybody here as leaders, you do that and say something and not just because you're afraid to say something. Just
Mayor?
tell me 6 feet away.
Rod Cotton, City Attorney, I know that, some people in Pecos have been asking about trying to make things more strict about the coronavirus protections and stuff like that. And, it gets complicated pretty quick because the governor at the state level has issued proclamations, then the county has issued proclamation, then the city has issued proclamation. And so really, if the city wanted to make something stricter than what the county is, you really have to follow the county. And so if the county wanted to make something stricter than the state, they have to follow the state. So really, we all just have to sort of follow what the state says. And the county is following what the state says, and then just advise everybody to, you know, be adults. Try, you know, like Councilor Solano said, you know, use your head and try to protect everybody.
Yes, sir.
But it's hard to make something real strict because of the hierarchy of laws.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Tez, second by Councilwoman Baca to approve adjournment. So those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
But before we leave, we need to tell the public, hey, continue washing your hands, continue social distancing. Because some people out there still believe that this is not for real. It is for real, people. So be cautious, take care, wash your hands.
Time is
Time is